Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I've been having a ton of fun playing MW2 lately, and I've been watching the scrims. I've been kind of seeing how teams have been playing, and just as of the other day, we had our first scrim between the Atlanta FaZe and the LA Thieves. Many would consider these two to be the best teams heading into the CDL as we get into the MW2 season. So in this one, we're going to go through, we're going to talk about their match on Embassy Hardpoint. We'll break down all the spawns, who is where they should be, what leads to certain teams getting a dub. And without further ado, let's go ahead and let's hop into the map. So as we're watching here, we are on board with Octane. And again, for at least the first set of rotations, you guys are going to hear me break this down. The second part of the rotations, I usually go ahead and mute my mic and turn them up, and I let you guys listen to what exactly they're saying, because I do think it's important that you get to hear some of their communication as well. But essentially what's happening right now on the map is they're basically just trying to get position for P2. The first hard point here, it's right in the middle. As you can see, Octane is on this right now, and it's really not all that important. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's break down exactly where the spawns happened and where they're trying to go. So as we go ahead and bring up this mini map here, you can kind of see all of the hardpoint locations as they're laid out. So again, right now, P1's right here in the middle. LA Thieves spawned over here back behind P4, and Atlanta FaZe spawned all the way down here in the bottom left over by P5. And if you're talking about hills on this map specifically, P2 is probably the second money hill, which is down here in the bottom right. But the most important hill, and you'll see that play out in this specifically, is this P3 hardpoint up in the top left-hand location of the map. So what you're seeing right now is basically LA Thieves spawned up here. They ran over towards P4, and you just saw Octane here watching the cross down towards this way. And while that's happening, as soon as Atlanta FaZe came up off of spawn, they've honestly just kind of ran over towards P2. We've seen a couple instances here already, but you'll see it even more so where Embassy went up these stairs. And then once you get into the upper location of these buildings here and you're looking down inside of P1, that's how you really get set up for P2 and you start to stack some time here. So let's go ahead. Let's hop back into it. You can see Octane here trying to get a beat on Embassy as he's up in that second story above that P4 location as they're about to go over towards P2. So with 5 seconds left, it's basically a tie ball game. But as you're watching these spawns, Octane has been able to push behind the back side of the map here, but they're going to struggle at least a little bit with trying to get into this hard point. So that seems to be right there seems to be a common theme when it comes to MW2 so far. Octane got blown up by the car, Envoy got blown up by the car, and as you just saw Envoy come into the map, he spawned over towards AC, and now as he tries to make his way over to P2, you can see that the score is still basically pretty close. He's able to get a really nice kill here, and Kenny's able to get his back there, so they are going to go ahead and tack on maybe 10-15 extra points here. So far hasn't been terrible. They did get the beneficial spawn to start the map when it comes to P2, and pretty much when they leave this, they're going to have a 10-12 point lead. But I mentioned in that previous breakdown how important it is to get time and get set up over towards P3, because it is almost impossible to get into and break a setup for P3 as long as you're set up and you have everybody where it needs to be. So Slasher with the SMG is just watching the flank over towards that P5 area of the map. And this is what makes it so difficult, is as we're on board with Octane here, you spawn basically entirely on the opposite side of the map. If we go ahead and we'll just pause it, we'll break this down one more time here as we're looking at this and we bring up the mini map. This is exactly why it's so hard. So P4, of course, is over here. We just saw Octane spawn all the way in the back. So rather than, as soon as you get out this doors and you get to this location, all of this right here is just wide open space. So you have to run from this location over here to either try to get to the ladder that's on this back side of P3, or you have to try to get over here and go up these stairs. And it's just super difficult to do. If you're Atlanta FaZe, you're getting this spawn right here. So you can go ahead, you can climb up the ladder and come across, or once you're already inside of P3, of course, you have these headies where you can watch here. But if you're in this location right here, you can watch the cross from P4, and you can also watch this staircase right here. So there's only really 3 ways that they can get up inside of P3: this staircase, this ladder that's over here, and the ladder that's down here by P5. So once you're set up and you have everybody in these locations, it's just really hard to go ahead and try to break this one. So you're going to see that kind of play out as we go ahead. Again, Octane trying to push here. You're going to see this is that ladder that's on the top side of P3. He climbs up it, and you don't have a chance. And right there, again, Celium was watching that ladder. He comes through. He gets a double P. He gets a 2-piece right there on the staircase. So you can have Slasher, you can have Simp, you can have a BZ spread out on that side of the map. We saw Slasher all the way over towards P5 on the bottom side of the map, while Celium was inside that hill by himself. So P3, again, basically towards the end of P2, LA Thieves had like a 10, 12 point lead, somewhere in that range. And now as it goes over towards P4, they're down by 40, and they still don't have this setup here inside of P4 as it stands right now. Octane, you just saw, and again, when it comes to making sure you have those spawns, as kind of a body goes flying around there, but when it goes to making sure you have these spawns, you saw him now spawn out. He spawned over towards P3, and if Atlanta FaZe was completely set up, and you see it kind of flipping back and forth here, but if Atlanta FaZe had been set up, you'd have somebody in the hill, you'd have somebody up in those top windows directly above this, and they'd be able to watch that cross from over towards P3. So as we're watching it here, this has been a pretty decent job. They're not getting a ton of points. They're not getting a full 60 like what Atlanta FaZe did over towards P3. But to be able to break that setup and get at least another 30, 35 points on the board somewhat keeps this one close. And now we're back on the other side of the map. So this is underneath where P3 was. This is P5. This is the last hardpoint location on this Embassy map. And right now it's kind of up in the air. You can see LA Thieves is spawning on the bottom side of the map, and Atlanta FaZe is spawning on the top. So this is one of those, a little bit of a weird hill where instead of somebody spawning in the back, kind of like the bottom left-hand side of the map, and somebody in the top right, when this is somewhat contested, one team spawns kind of on the bottom right and one team spawns over towards the top. And now as you're watching this here, they're still holding on to this time, but you can see just how far out they're spawning. So the last 15 seconds or so is going to go to Atlanta FaZe, and you just saw Octane die there from a BZ, which means they're already trying to set up P2, right? If we go ahead and we pause this and we bring up the minimap one more time, we'll just mark out what we just saw right there. So P5, which is over towards here, that's the route that Atlanta FaZe took to get the last 20 seconds here. But as they're inside this P5 area, what you just saw is a BZ was able to get a kill right here over towards P2. And essentially what he's trying to do is, as LA Thieves spawns right here, this is where Octane spawned, rather than try to go ahead and push all the way to the backside of P5, Octane was just trying to get mid so that he could watch the escape, right? If you're Atlanta FaZe, you have to try to escape in one of these routes to get behind P2. So as Octane was trying to watch that escape, he got killed right here by a BZ, and because of that, Atlanta FaZe already had spawns set up for P2 because you saw Octane spawn out over here towards P3. And if you're already at a deficit, that's really not what you were looking for there. So as we're watching this, they were able to get it back within 20-ish points or so. But still, we're inside P1 where you're not really going to get a ton of points right here. And then as it rotates over to P2, you're going to see that Atlanta FaZe is already set up. And in this next set of rotations, they're able to compound. They're able to put back-to-back time inside of P2, and they're able to capture that time inside of P3 again. But as I mentioned earlier, I do think it's important for us to be able to listen in so we can hear exactly what LA Thieves is talking about and what they're trying to achieve. So as we go ahead and go through the next set of rotations here, let's go ahead, let's listen in to what they have to say as they are about to go over towards P2.
Get my front door.
I don't want to really jump out here though.
Yeah. Oh, no, one shadow.
Two left. One cross out the new and one's deep left.
They're both a little triple, all three, bro. All three on the left cross.
They're gonna spawn there. They're gonna
On top of the vents, all three of them.
Cross,
I'm
right?
already on the side door.
They're gonna cross. I'm gonna cross the left easy. Trying
Air left.
to get a trophy on these. He's
Yeah, trophy.
gonna be on top of the vents. I'm about to pro down here.
I'm trying to pinch, bro.
Okay, yo, on top of AC, he's laying. Here, you can see him. He's on the
It's
left
not
side of the
coming
block.
too.
Sam, to your left.
Oh yeah, I know what you meant.
There, dude, he's in front time. Like that.
That right there, just to pop in real quick, that was an unbelievable job from Slasher. Atlanta FaZe didn't have those back spawns, but Slasher was basically right above where Octane is at right now. He was able to get a 3-piece from that top location, and as he did, Atlanta FaZe was able to get another 20 points or so. But with the last series of events, really nice job from LA Thieves to be able to break back in, keep this one somewhat close. But as I said, it's all going to come down to those rotations over towards P3, which we're going to see in about 15 seconds.
That's one, right?
These fucking 80 bullets. One's on me,
Right
bro.
left there. Yeah, I'm challenging
Let me
again.
see. Let me
Give me
see.
an AC builder, bro.
Across
AC builder,
them.
one shot. AC builder, me one shot. In this corner.
Yo.
Oh my
Can I
god.
help in second?
I'm dead, bro.
I'm one shot.
I got an
Give me
80.
AC, bro.
Trying to hold our left cross here.
That was me. That's me.
I'm one shot.
I'm just holding them across. They're gonna be in the back, bro. They're gonna be in the
It
back.
could be low right.
Hey, back AC.
Yeah, they're crossing multiple back AC. Oh, low right. Oh, low right in our top building. Low right in our top
Watch your
building.
ladder.
One's our front, bro. One pitch our front. One spawn
Yeah,
front.
one is front 100%.
Close shot, bro. Austin on
Hot time to ladder.
Oh, good.
Play kills, play kills. We're good.
Trying to. He jumped out front. Good play. Chris our front building. All right, AC in our building. AC in our building. All
BG on top.
right, we gotta clear Chris here.
He's front time.
He's gonna be top our mid.
Yeah, I'm trying to clear it.
BSD. Good shots. He's still BSD. He's still
BSD
left.
I'll send
He's
you
in AC room.
I don't see you on
Deep
time
left,
either.
bro.
I get nades on. No trophy. Nade time. No trophies. Nade the backside time. He's in the corner.
Alright.
It's low. It's low.
Nice.
I got him.
Jump. I'm here. Come
I'm
challenge.
staying left, bro.
Got a chow.
Oh, he's on the van.
Close. One shot.
Oh,
Close.
another one there.
Deep van.
He's challenging AC.
Yeah,
Challenging
he's
AC.
on the truck. On this truck right here. Close.
Truck. One shot.
It's probably no shallow. I'm
Yeah, looking left.
Try to play in our
about to
building.
repinch this if I can.
Yeah, to the trophy.
That's just
got it
flash.
right here.
MC the back over here. Not a flat. Oh, that fucking full.
In our mid.
Jesus Christ. Nah, the double hit the back. Double hit the back. Two in the back. 100% two. 100% two.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
one. I got
I spawn
a
AC.
back. Get back. Get twice. Get back.
I spawn AC, bro. It's all you guys. I spawn AC.
Should have did that. That's something.
Yeah.
I
Trying to
spawned
work up mid here.
Try to get in there top.
Yeah, I'm taking a hall. They flashed me in the back.
I'm
Working
the
up the hallway here. In the hallway. In between the hallways.
I'm the
Chris.
top, bros.
Oh my goodness.
He's jumping in between the hallways though.
Always one shot.
Tell us deep left
I'm
wall.
Trying to hit this shit.
I'm waiting
He's
for that.
He's still
literally just jumping in
door.
between on the
I
halls.
have open time. I have open time.
I'm play on this guy on the heady. I'm just guy on the left, bro. I'm their back door, bro.
Yeah, fucking timing. I tried to leave him. He's just running back and forth in
Back
between.
back.
Back door, Austin, bro.
You're good.
Close left time. Your right side time. Back right.
Gotta
time.
hop in for like
The
2 or
back.
3 seconds here. Trying to go left.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Challenge.
get there.
There's two. I got one.
I need
One
it.
shot.
And then just real quick, one other thing that I wanted to explain right here, because this is another dominant effort inside of P4. You see right now Atlanta FaZe has P4, and even though they stacked that time inside of P3, they were able to win that first set of gun battles as it went over towards P4. And when they did, that took Octane and spawned them all the way out down here towards the bottom left towards P5. And essentially what you saw there is Simp just kind of went crazy. So as they go from here, they either have to enter in one of these hallways right here, which puts you on the bottom floor. They could run through P2 and try to go this back hallway, or their only other real option is to go take this long route all the way towards the backside and try to hit the top side of this P4 location. And really what you just saw right there is you saw Simp roaming this area right here in the middle. He was able to sneak out, get a kill looking this direction, sneak out, get a kill looking that direction. And when you have somebody that's in the middle right there cutting off both of those lanes, it's just too difficult to try to make your way back in there. So we'll go ahead, we'll watch the rest of this, but you can kind of see where this one is going from here.
He's in the staircase. Absolutely.
I get in, bro.
Can't cancel my reload.
I got him,
So you guys gotta get in if you can.
I get in, bro. You know I'm here, I'm pretty sure. You close front, what's that front?
I'm in new if you guys can get here.
Okay.
That might get the
No
tick.
time.
I don't think they did it. No way.
Well, I'm in
I'm on
here.
left, they can hit the front,
Oh,
cover.
yeah.
I have your side.
The flash here is
One's front door, man.
bro. Dead.
One's front door.
Trying to get you right.
One is front door, one's private back there.
I'm just
Front door.
right now.
I'm one shot. I'm near right.
Oh, my.